What's going on, guys? Alex from Hoppos. I've been having a lot of questions recently about just assembling a basic pump. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that just need to know how to do a basic pump. So I figured, why not? Let's go for it. Let's show everyone how to do it real quick. It's a very simple process, actually. Once you do one, they pretty much don't change. They're all the same. So I'm gonna kind of just run you through real quick. I mean, bear with me on the video. I'm just recording off my cell phone, so if the quality's not there, I'm sorry. I'm gonna kind of go through real quick what you need and what kind of tools you're gonna be using on this. I use a couple ratchet wrenches, 7/16, 10mm, and those are gonna be for your tank rods. Those are gonna vary depending on who you buy your pump from. And then also Makita impact, 1/2 inch or 13, depending on what gears you have, and a 10mm socket. The standard components you're going to need for a complete pump: the main manifold, the block itself. This one right here is going to be 1/2 inch pressure with a 3/8 top return. It's going to be inserted, so you're going to see the steel inserts. This is going to be considered one of our street blocks, but also an upgrade as well too. So pretty much, you're going to have your block, you're going to have your main tank O-ring, you're going to have your pressure O-ring, you're going to have your gear itself, your 4 tank rods, all the nuts, the gear bolts that actually houses the gear, all the washers, your key. The key connects the motor to the gear, so you want to make sure you have that, or else you'll be free spinning. Motor, every pump needs a motor, and going to be your tank. Again, tank may vary from black to chrome depending on who you buy it from. So those are going to be your main components you're going to need to assemble this pump. Pretty much the first thing you're going to start off with is going to be your O-rings. Make sure you put your main tank O-ring on, and that guy just slides right over the groove right there. Get it in place, make sure you're good. Next one, number 8, pressure O-ring. This is going to be what holds all the pressure between the gear and pretty much your car. So make sure you get this guy on there, make sure it doesn't come out of place. This is the number one thing to be forgotten because of how small it is. So, and this sits right here in this little groove right here. It's a little recessed. I'm going to push it in, and there you go. So pretty much the block's going to be pretty much done right there. I mean, that's how simple it is. Next step is going to be getting your gear on there. Depending on what gear you have, a lot of them have plastic caps. Make sure you get these bad boys off. If you don't, your car won't do anything, or you'll suck up a plastic piece and you're going to ruin your gear. So a lot of times there's one on here, there's going to be one here, and then the main shaft one as well. So make sure those are all off. If you notice, the gear on top, this is going to be your top section, the flat part. The bottom is going to have a port. That's going to go towards the bottom of the block. And normally how I assemble the block is I always put the ports to the top, so it's just easier. So what you're going to do, this is where I'm going to use the impact. And I'm just going to remove the two top bolts right here. Sorry, the 2 bottom ones are going to keep. These are going to keep the gear together, so you're not going to have any issues with the gear separating into the 3 pieces with the dog bone and wishbones all and everything in there. So you're going to remove these 2 top ones. There you go. So now you see these 4 top ones are all free, which will line up to these 4 top ones right here. Make sure whenever you're replacing a gear, if you're not assembling a brand new pump, if you're doing a used pump or putting a used gear in, make sure you change out your steel seal. The steel seal is going to be the number one thing to cause your oil to leak from the gear and the tank to the motor. So make sure if you are taking this on and off, make sure every time you do that you replace your steel seal. This is pretty much almost like a one-time use seal right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to get this lined up. Shaft is going to go into the main hole. Kind of just center it up for right now. Then what you're going to do is going to get your tank bolts. Sorry, your gear bolts. And On these are gonna vary depending on what gear you have and your block depth. For number 11 Presto High, we use 3 washers per each one. Like I said, this may vary from anywhere from 2 washers to 3 depending on what gear, pump, and everything. So once you do the first one, kind of feel it for it and make sure it's going in all the way without stripping the actual block. And the reason I'm doing this video without any interruptions or cuts or anything like that, or editing, so you can see how quick the assembly process is on this gear. So I get all of them started by hand, make sure they're all going to go in, and then I just hit it real quick and with the impact. I don't go all the way tight, I just get them to where they touch, and then I'll come in with a torque wrench and torque them. Then you get a torque wrench. Depending on your gear itself, your torque may vary anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds. Everyone has their own personal preference and take on it. Right now I got it set to 20 to 25 pounds on here. I'm just going to go through and just torque them all. You can hear it clicking right there. That's actually, it's hitting the torque range. You hear it click. There's torqued, torqued, torqued. Oh, there it goes. Torqued. So now your whole gear's set. Right there, you're pretty much set. Now the actual gear is attached to the block itself. A lot of you guys see this is the actual motor side. This is going to be the tank. So your next step from there is going to be lining up your tank. It's going to be your chrome tank. A lot of these are snug, so you want to make sure you get some oil, and normally lube up the actual O-ring surface where it's going to touch right here. So I normally just put a little bit of oil, lube it all up, and I normally spin it like that just to get a little bit of oil on the O-ring, so it's a lot easier. You're going to want to line up your tank rod holes right here. If you don't line those up, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get it after it's all done. Alright, so that's all set. Those are all lined up. Let me grab a backing plate real quick. Alright, so a backing plate. This is going to be the main plate that actually holds all the pressure. A lot of people call them pressure plates, backing plates. It's all the same thing. You're going to slide your rods through there, and I just start these by hand. Slide it through. Oops. That was that one there. So all 4 rods are on. Backing plate's a little bit loose, but this is normally what I do. I grab and I hold all 4 bolts right here. Go like this. So that way it's easier to tighten. This side doesn't have any nuts yet, so this is what I like to do. It makes it easier on everyone. Same thing, start everything by hand, get it snugged up. Snugged up. Snugged. So now these are all started by hand. Now what I do is I actually get this, and being that our backing plate is actually flat on the bottom side right here, I see a lot of guys out there rolling, and they're driving in their car, they open their trunk and their backing plates are like that, crooked. So to me that's like a pet peeve. It's always in the details. So what we do is actually sit it on the table, get it all squared up, lined up, and this is where your 2 ratchet wrenches are going to come in place. A lot of times you don't really want to use an impact on this, just because you're going to actually scar the aluminum. Aluminum's real soft, so it scars easy, and you don't want anything rubbing on there. These are just going to be snugged up. These don't got to be ridiculously tight or anything. You don't want to bow your backing plate, bend it, or anything like that. And notice I'm still doing it on the flat side so it doesn't move on me. And like I said, that's just a personal preference, just so your backing plate's not crooked when it's in your trunk. Got a $100,000 car with a crooked backing plate, and you don't want to do that. So each one's snugged up now. And I mean, you see how fast it is. Right now we're about 11 minutes into the video. You see the tank's already assembled. Now grab your tank, flip it upside down, backing plate to the bottom, and block up to the top. This is where the key comes in place. Right now, I don't know if you can see it, but inside the actual hole right there, there's a shaft that comes through. That's the actual gear that you first mounted. The key itself is going to mount or slide onto the shaft right here and just be held in place with the splines itself. Then the motor comes in. A lot of times the motor will have a protective cover over the shaft. Make sure you take those off. Sometimes they're pretty tight, so just use a pair of dikes. And this is where the impact comes into play again. Impact 10mm on a motor, and what you're going to do is, on the motor it's actually held together with these square nuts. You want to make sure those come off before you try to mount it, or else your motor won't mount. What I do, just spin them all the way off. When you do that, this is going to become, your motor's going to become 4 pieces. It's going to be the back bearing plate, the actual main housing, and the front plate, and then the actual armature inside. You want to make sure you hold it all together so it doesn't fall, because that's going to be a whole different story. If you get this and it falls apart, that's going to be a different video. So hold it all together. What you're going to do, what we do here, is get the shaft itself and we line it up in the splines. It's only mounting on 2 holes, so what we do, is we get it in here, and then I put pressure on the bolts, and I just spin it till you feel it hit. There it goes. I don't know if you guys saw that. So when you mount the motor, right now you're locked onto the actual shaft and the key. Then we put pressure on the actual bolts on the motor. Spin it. There you go. They locked. Start them by hand. And on these are real delicate, so a lot of times we like to just do these by hand. Just so you don't strip them, mess anything up. And again, these aren't going to go super tight. You're just going to, pretty much tighten it up and then just do a half a turn. You don't want to strip these guys out. Alright guys, so now you have a complete pump. Of course, Hoppos. So there you guys go. That's a quick 13-minute video just so you guys can see how to assemble it. If I missed anything, feel free to comment on there. I will try to update. Like I said, this was just filmed off a cell phone, so I had a lot of questions. When you guys ask questions, you guys have feedback. I try to provide. We all try to provide for you guys here. We try to help you guys out as much as possible. With the amount of kits that we sell, I mean, I want you guys to be able to have a video to go to and just learn how to assemble the pumps. So that's a pretty simple thing. You see, it's all assembled, it's ready. Now you can just drop it in the car, get your fittings on, and now you're all set. Alright guys, so thank you again. This is Alex from Hoppos. Make sure you guys go online, check out www.hopposonline.com. If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, be sure to follow us on Instagram. On Instagram we post a lot of behind the scenes builds, metalworking, machining, different stuff that we don't normally post on Facebook or on the actual website. It's more of a behind the scenes. So if you guys check us out on there, be sure to repost it, tag us. If you get a package from us, hashtag Hoppos. Make sure you guys do that, alright? And thank you guys for watching, and till next time.